sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 9th day of May. Got a really good show on tonight. Now, remember, folks, 30 minutes past the hour, I'll have Rich Ferrison from Cumulus Radio, also known locally as 104.5 The Zone, the flagship station of the Tennessee Titans. Going to get his opinion on the Tennessee Titans draft. Going to get some thoughts on the AFC South as well. A lot of interesting games on last night. We've got a really good playoff here, and I'll talk about that. Lakers, huh? Who called that one, huh? Who called the Lakers to beat Golden State? So we'll get into that and more here on Sports Scope. We'll get our first and only break out of the way, and we'll hit the ground running. I'll be back here in 49 seconds. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty then. So I'll have Rich in here in about 30 minutes. Also want to announce that tomorrow, Kareem Blackston, Kareem has been on the program before too, also in the past, going to get his opinion on the draft. I like to get various views and opinions on the draft and everything. So he'll be on tomorrow, 30 minutes past the hour. And then Thursday, really can't wait for this, returning guest John Restano from Spitballin' Sports. I was on John's show this past Friday. Very good guest. Love having John on the program. Going to get his take on this Chicago Bears draft. Also want to ask him about Justin Fields. Some good news out of Chicago saying that, hey, this guy's light years ahead. If you think about the offseason acquisitions and the roster of this Chicago Bear team, it is light years different and better than it was last year. So I'll ask him, what does he think this team is going to do? Now, Thursday night, which is tomorrow, the schedule will be released in the NFL. Now, obviously, it'll be coming out while I'm doing the program. I'm going to talk about some of the Titans schedule Friday with Carlos Mad New Yorker Chavez, get his must-see games there. It's May, folks. I mean, any prediction I make in May could be changed before the season starts, But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Jets and Giants. And I'll get into more scheduling stuff next week, strength of schedule and everything of that nature. So got a full lineup this week of guests. A lot of people wanting to come on the program, and I'm really thankful for that. I want to thank everybody that does come on the program. I'm grateful for it. I can do it without having guests, but it seems like it makes it much more fun when I have a guest that wants to come on. Now, if I'm asking people to come on and they don't do it, that annoys me. But usually I don't have to ask. People ask me to come on, and I'm grateful. That means you're watching and you all are sharing the program. So very thankful for that. So, okay, now, so when we left, thank you, Pickles. When we left yesterday, I said, and this is contrary of what a lot of the national media had said, that the Golden State was going to win that game. Okay, so here's my take. This time yesterday, I want to say, about 12 minutes into the program yesterday, on Lakers and Golden State.
Powers and Colin Cowherds are picking Golden State in 6. I'm picking Lakers in 6. Well, Golden State's going to have to win, 3 straight? I don't think they'll do that. I think the Lakers will win tonight. This will be about a 5-point game.
Hey, that's pretty good, huh, Pickles? Said it'll be about a 5-point game. Lakers end up winning by 3. Hey, I can't help it. I'm the best, Just kidding. If I could nail them like that every night, I would be doing SportsScope from my palatial mansion, spacious mansion out in Franklin, Tennessee. But, hey, it was a great game. Didn't get to see a lot of it, considering the fact that, hey, they come on, these games come on at 9 p.m. Central Time. I could watch a little bit of the first quarter, and usually what I'll do is I'll go to bed about 9:30. Sometimes I'll wake up at midnight, and I'll see some of the highlights of this particular game. Now, I'll say this. Golden State played really well. I was looking through some of the key box scores in this game. And, the lineup change did help Golden State. If you think about it, Pickles. Golden State actually, I want to make sure I got this right. Golden State had more points in the paint. They actually had more points in the paint than, let me make sure I got this right. They actually had more points in the paint than points off turnovers, points in the paint. 52-46. So they did get the ball inside more. They did get more points in the paint. But here's a key. Here's a backbreaker if you're a Warriors fan. 9 for 12 from free throw. Free throw percentage, 75%. The Lakers, 20 for 20. They did not miss a free throw. And they still hung on just to win by 3. It tells you it's hard what Rudy Tom Jonathan say, Pickles, you cannot underestimate the heart of a champion. You cannot underestimate the heart of a champion. As far as tonight is concerned, I do like Boston, of course, and I do like Denver to rebound. I like Denver to rebound and cover that 6.5, by the way. I just now looked. I realized that it's about time for that game to be coming on if it's not already. But talking about Golden State LA last night, 100% rebounds. Lakers only beat them by 2. Offensive boards, total rebounds, pretty close there. Pretty close there. So, and quite frankly, Anthony Davis, 23 and 15, didn't really dominate. Of course, this guy off the bench, this Lonnie Walker, the 4th here, 15 points. Traditionally, the bench players play better at home. But, the story continues. How bad, Pickles, how bad was Russell Westbrook for the Lakers? Look at the bench play and the role play of the Lakers now. With, Hachimura, Ro, I'll call him, black guy with Japanese name. 2 points. But then you look at Austin Reeves here. 7 for 15. Lonnie Walker, 15 points. Dennis Schroeder, 10 points off the bench here. Vanderbilt didn't do much, but they brought him in for his defensive presence there. So, hey, look, it is what it is. The Lakers are probably going to win this series pending a major setback, injury-wise. I said it. I think Golden State, they've been pushing the envelope. I thought that 7-game series would take a toll on them in the last series against Sacramento. It did. Coming into this series, I thought the size of the Lakers and their defense, they held Golden State to 101 points, a team that's been average last series, 118, 125. So, this is a totally different series than the Sacramento Kings. Klay Thompson, virtually a no-show here. Yeah, 9 points, five rebounds. Curry's got his 31. He got his triple-double. But that is pretty much about it. Now, I will say this. Steve Kerr did toy with that lineup. And again, Gary Payton 7 for 9. So I do expect this game to go back to series, to go back to LA. I think Golden State will win, and it'll be just pretty much like the way I predicted it. It'd be the Lakers in 6 games. So listen to what Mike Greeny said from First Take this morning on possibly benching the players for the Lakers because of their age and fragile Anthony Davis coming into Game 5.
Are the hearts of a champion going on Game 5 and said, we're going to beat these guys in our building in Game 6. It's like in baseball, where you save your pitcher for the one game you need to win. You don't have to win 5 games in a best of 7. You only have to win 4. Again, I don't want to sidetrack the conversation. Well, sure I do. I'll sidetrack the conversation. They're not winning Game 5 under any. The Warriors are the hearts of a champion going home with their backs to the wall. The Warriors are winning Game 5 no matter what happens. I'm playing this thing to try and win on Game 5.
So he's basically saying, go ahead and bench the starters. Now, I'll say this. I understand Anthony Davis, and the optics would look too bad. The optics would look bad for that. I mean, we talked about this. The league wants teams to play a minimum, 66 games or something like that. I can't remember. To be eligible for awards and stuff, first all team NBA and all that crap. Now, so my thing is, you play this. You go ahead and start everybody. Go ahead and start Davis. Go ahead and start LeBron. If it's about 25 points at halftime, bench the starters. If it's within 10. In halftime, and if it's 10, say 7 to 10 minutes to go, go ahead and keep the guys in. If it blossoms past 10 with 7 minutes to go ahead and bench these guys. But if it's one of those 25-point halftime deficits, go ahead and bench the starters, get them in LA, let LeBron rest. He's 38 years old, Anthony Davis's size, and go ahead and beat them in LA. There's no way I would just bench him for the whole game. No way. Now, remember, the Cavs, they were down 3-1 to the Golden State Warriors. Draymond Green suspended in Game 5. The Warriors the Cavs came back and won that in 7. So you really don't want to give a team momentum. That being said, I think they're going to shoot the ball much better. Again, if you can keep it close, go ahead and try to win it now. Don't try to cut any corners, because what you essentially do, you would give yourself more rest before you play the winner of Denver and Phoenix, and rest is what they need. That's the attitude I would have coming into this game. Going to be a great series down the stretch here. I don't think they're going to go out without a fight, if you ask me. So we'll see how that one plays out. All right, now, like I said yesterday about the Knicks, the Knicks are a team playing on house money. They look emotionally and physically exhausted. Hey, Kathy, what's up? Whatever you're putting up there, it did not show up. It's just a blank screen there. Okay, now, so let's play another bite here from Julius Randle, saying that maybe they just out-hustled us. Maybe the Miami Heat wanted more than us. Julius Randle for the New York Knicks last night after going down 3-1 to after going down 3-1 to the Knicks.
Julius, you guys haven't been able to get the amount of offensive rebounds, loose balls that you were in the Cleveland series. Just what
I know it's a low question here, but listen to Randall's response.
Beat you at your own game almost.
Maybe they wanted more. I don't know. That's been who we are all year, and we got to find a way to step up and make those plays.
He said, "I guess they just wanted more. We got to find a way to step up." Yada yada yada. It's kind of a low cut there. I'll say this about Randall. Again, he looked physically and emotionally exhausted. Now, if that's the case, go ahead and bench him. You know, like as I said before, I do not know why that Thibodeau is not playing, because they're building a house with the amount of bricks that this team is. They're building a house with the amount of bricks this team is throwing. They're simply going to have to get another scorer here, somebody that fits the continuity of this team chemistry here. And the thing about it is, you could probably, if you wanted to move on from Randall, and I know that Stephen A. Smith is really irritated with Julius Randle. He's saying that, maybe they should trade him or something like that, and rightfully so, having that defeated-like mentality. But, the guy's 28 years old. He's got 2 years left on his contract. He's not really played that well when it's needed. You say, well, he got 20 points, but he takes a lot of bad shots here, and his cap hit for next year and the year after that, it's $30 million. He's a 3. Thumbs up for Sportscope. Show my favorite to watch. Thank you, Kathy. That one came through. I appreciate that, my friend. So this, you've got Randall, you've got Brunson, you've got this young team, and a lot of these young guys really have not showed up on a consistent basis. They overlooked Miami. Now, Miami was in the finals a few years ago. They've been to the playoffs with this group just about every year. Remember, the Knicks didn't make it to the playoffs last year. They didn't even make it to the playoffs last year. Possibly you could use him in a trade package and go after a better score. Do you want to go after a guy that maybe look at a Trae Young or a Damian Lillard or somebody like that of that nature? He would just be essentially be a package, a piece of a package. They have multiple draft picks. That is something that needs to be talked about. That and making some adjustments on this coaching staff, like I said, will be something. Now, of course, your Carloses of the world. I'm sure there's other people that feel the same way, that Thibodeau is a problem. He wears his guys out. He doesn't use his bench enough, and they're usually exhausted. Karl Anthony Towns, when he was coaching at Minnesota, Karl Anthony Towns said that, hey, he does wear guys out. He does agree with what Carlos says, and maybe he is hard-headed. But so there's got to be something to do with their scoring. I do think that, hey, look, they did get passed around this time. They probably should have beat Miami, because you know that Butler's banged up. Hero's not there, but they're just getting worked right now. They're getting worked right now, and they are getting. He is right. They are getting out hustled by Miami. They're getting out hustled, and the fact that maybe Randall was saying that in sarcasm, he was trying to pump up his teammates, but that was not a good look for Randall. That was his worst moment as a Knick. And possibly that could get him moved, saying that maybe they want it more than we do. Maybe he's talking to his teammates. Either way, this is something that I will give a guy like Steve Kerr credit. He has zero fear of not changing his lineup. He has zero fear of alternating his lineup. Derrick Rose, Evan Fournier, these guys have not been used since November and December, and both are healthy, especially Derrick Rose. Especially, every time I turn this game on against Miami, I'm seeing the defense will hold them. They will hold this team together. It'll be a 5-point game. Then you've got brick after brick after brick. And I'm thinking, if these guys can't score, go in there and get somebody. Go in there and get somebody that can score. Pickle says the Benton Layers proved how important backups are. Yeah. That Lonnie guy, I mean, that was a great storyline. The bench players play better at home. You've got the home court advantage, and he's not using that. So that is a strike against Tom Thibodeau. I cannot disagree with the Carlos on a move like that. Okay, so here in the next few minutes, it's 20 minutes after, I've got Richard Ferris coming in. He could be coming in any minute now. So tomorrow, the NFL schedule will be, not tomorrow. I keep thinking today's Wednesday. It's only Tuesday, Robert. I'm still trying to push this week ahead because I love working. I love having fun on Saturdays, hanging out with a good friend of mine, Steven. We catch him on video games. But anyways, Thursday, the schedule will be released. Now, Adam Schefter put this out. He says the NFL schedule will be released officially Thursday, May 11th. He says, among changes to the schedule this season, the NFL will have a Black Friday game for the first time ever. I love Lionel Walker. Yeah, he was Bunny. He's a great story. But so Adam Schefter put this out. So there will be a game on Black Friday, which has never happened before. There usually is a college game. I would say sometimes you'll see a Mississippi and a Mississippi State play on college. By the way, I'm at Nashville. I'm going to try to get a media pass since Sportscope is a company. I'm going to try to get a media pass and go to SEC Media Days in July. I'm going to try to go to 2 days. If not one, I'll have to take my day job off. So I'm going to aim to get some interviews with fans, coaches, and whatnot for my program. I'm still trying to work out the logistics of that. But going back to the NFL schedule on Black Friday, they'll have a game on Black Friday, which is good, because usually it's just a college game. People are still full and off that day. I'm usually working a little bit, but not much. Sometimes I don't do anything on that Friday. I'm just off work. So they're going to have a game on that. And then he says games don't necessarily belong to any networks anymore. So you used to have on CBS all AFC, and you would have on who was the other one? Fox, you would have NFC. Well, that's not going to be the case this year. And then NBC can have anything. NBC and, of course, ESPN on Monday Night Football, which is ABC, they can have anything on there. So that's going to be interesting. Now, this is what I don't like. Teams can be on Thursday twice. Now, I'll say this. Is that just another opportunity to put the Cowboys on another night? Now, the Cowboys, they say this. The Cowboys always seem to get 2 Thursday games. They'll play on Thanksgiving, and then they'll play a week later. Then they'll play a week later on Thursday night. Thanksgiving, it'd be like a Thursday afternoon, Thanksgiving. Then they'll play a week later. And you know what? They usually play well because they're accustomed to playing those games. I'm not a big fan of Thursday night football games. I think the players are somewhat fatigued. The advantage usually favors the home team if the teams are fairly even by a long shot. But that being said, now, if you're a fan of a team, you want your team to play Thursday in like September, because the bodies are still somewhat fresh in September. Just not a big Thursday night football guy. That's what I've been saying from the get-go. Pickle says it should be teams coming off a bye week. So you come off a bye week, you play Thursday, you get that weekend off, and then you come back the following week. You should be really refreshed by then. You should be really refreshed. It's good for fantasy. It's good for betting, wagering. I want my teams to be fully engaged mentally, physically, emotionally, to the max extent. And then, of course, not all teams are guaranteed to have a prime time spot. Now, I didn't know that all teams were ever guaranteed a prime. This is what Adam Schefter puts out there. He's an NFL guy with ESPN. Now, so I didn't know that. Now, this year, I would expect a team like a Detroit Lions. I'd expect maybe a Detroit. Last year, they knocked out Green Bay, and that's a potential guest for next week. Freddie the Pizza Man. I'll probably have to record him like I did last time, but I'm curious of what he thought about this Detroit Lions draft. It wasn't the best draft that it could have been. I wish they would have went in a few different directions, but I may try to get Freddie to come back on after draft. He loves talking about the draft. Me and him been talking about the draft for years, Freddie the Pizza Man. So, but not all teams are guaranteed a primetime spot. Listen, folks, the Tampa Bay Bucks with Baker Mayfield as their starting quarterback, they're not going to be very good next year. There's a chance that Kyler Murray may not be back for the Arizona Cardinals till middle of the season. We don't know that for sure. They may be a dumpster fire. I don't want to see these teams in prime time that are terrible at quarterback, all right? So those two particular teams, I don't want to see. For years, I've never really wanted to see Jacksonville, but, I'm in Nashville. I mean, it's okay because, they're a divisional opponent of the Titans. But now they've got a star quarterback, totally different situation. Totally. And I want to see more of a team that used to be a dumpster fire in Detroit because they got a really good team. I got a feeling that the Raiders are like an inch away, like they always are, from also being a dumpster fire because of Jimmy Garoppolo's injury history. If Garoppolo's out and you've got the backup in there, and I don't even know who the backup is, that is a team that you do not want to see in primetime. So kudos to that rule. Not all teams are guaranteed a primetime spot. Just seen Rich pop up. Perfect timing there, my friend. Come on in here. Rich Ferris returns to the program.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, I got to get you a walk-up song, man. What's your favorite song, Chief?
I don't know.
I caught you flat-footed on that. Just think about it.
A little bit, but yeah, I'll let you know. Very possible it's a 3-6 Mafia song.
All right. Hey, all right, Memphis. I was just talking about the Grizzlies the other day and Dylan Brooks. Okay, so, I don't know really where to start. I tell you what, let's start with the Titans. My opinion overall, best draft in a long time, man. Maybe since 16. I really wanted, I was telling my friend Kareem, me and this guy, you may have seen him on the program before. He's a guy that works in one of my offices that I go to. And I was telling him since January, I was like, man, I really hope the Titans get that guy Sonorski out of Northwestern. He can move around all over the place. But I said, you know what? Him being from Northwestern, the Bears will probably need a tackle. There's no way they're going to get him. He could go really high. We'll probably be getting that Paris Johnson guy out of Ohio State. And sure enough, Sonorski falls to Tennessee. So I thought that was just a home run, man.
Yeah, I mean, when I was on here with last week or the Wednesday before the draft, that's who I picked at 11 if they were to stay at 11 to pick him, and mentioned that they needed to double down on the offensive line, even though they signed some free agents, and luckily one of the better offensive linemen were there. I was a little surprised to see the Bears take Darnell Wright ahead of him, and therefore left him on the board for the Titans to take at 11.
Yeah. Well, Wright he did such a good job against Will Anderson. I guess, they were really impressed. Ron Poles, their general manager, must have been really impressed. Now, what is your thoughts? Is this team, are they ready offensive line-wise to compete? They've got Dillard, right? We've got Sonorski. Who other offensive line do you see starting on this team next year?
Well, it's
other than Pruitt, I know, or what?
They only have two guys really coming back that were starters last year. With Nicholas Petit-Ferrer, who was the right tackle last year. He was a rookie last year from Ohio State. They have Aaron Brewer, who is returning, who played He played guard, but they're moving him back to center. He was originally their backup center. Now that Ben Jones retired, he's moving back into the center position and should be the starting center. So they signed they signed Brunskill from the 49ers. He's going to be another guard
that's the
could
one.
plug in there and compete with Skoronski, who they picked at 11. And like you mentioned, Dillard, he's going to either play tackle or guard somewhere on that line, probably on the left side. And so whatever, I kind of guess that Skoronski will either play left or right guard, maybe left tackle. So they got a lot to sort out in training camp to put those pieces in place for the season.
Yeah. I got their depth chart here. Now ESPN has Skoronski at left guard and Dillard at tackle. But if he, it's going to be a competition. Maybe he beats out Dillard.
Maybe.
Tennessee got a pretty good pass rush.
And
You'll find out who's good quick, won't you?
Yeah, I wouldn't sleep on the tackle they took from Maryland, Jalen Duncan, in the 6th round of the draft this year. He was somebody that was slated pretty highly, and for whatever reason, kind of fell all the way to the 6th round. But he could be somebody that could be, in the mix as well. Nice,
yeah. You know something? Every site I go to, it gives Tennessee an A or A minus here on their draft.
I feel like a lot of those sites give everybody A or A minus. It's kind of hard. I mean, really, to judge a
nobody
draft,
got an F. It's a lot.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, how would you even know if they're an F?
Yeah.
Like, you have to me, I think you wait 3 years and then you can truly judge a draft class.
Yeah.
And you mentioned about this being one of the nicer draft classes. It's going to be hard about recent years to beat the 2019 class, though, where you had Simmons in the 1st round, A.J. Brown 2nd round, 3rd round was Nate Davis, 4th round was Amani Hooker, and then you had 2 6th rounds, one being the middle linebacker that just went to Miami.
I
can't think of his name off the top of my head. And so they ended up with 5 starters out of that draft of the 6 that they had picks in that draft. So that was a pretty good class, and that was probably John Robinson's best and last draft that was good.
Hey, is anybody at the I've got Rich Ferris here, folks. He works with Cumulus Radio. I don't get a chance to listen to a lot of local stuff. I get caught up in 1,000 different podcasts when I'm driving. What's your thoughts on this tight end, Josh Wiley from Cincinnati that they drafted there at 147?
Tall. Yeah, he's tall, athletic, very familiar with Vrabel. Vrabel's one of his best friends, Coach Lou Fickell, who's at Cincinnati.
Really?
Very familiar with each other. And so if anybody knows, anything about players from Cincinnati, it would probably be Vrabel because like I said, his best friend's the head coach. So big target. He can do a little bit of everything. Probably will have to, get a little bit up to speed on blocking a little bit better in the NFL. But otherwise, he's a 6'7", 260-pound tight end that can run pretty fast and can catch. And so I think he'll be kind of teamed up with Chigakonkwo to either 2 tight ends. They also have some other tight ends on the roster, but I kind of see them kind of being the main 2 guys. If not at this season, then the next season.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught this. If you get a hold of this guy, tell him I'd love to bring him on the program. 7th round, Colton Dowell, 6'3", ran a great 40 time. I don't know. He tore Tennessee up.
He had a big day against Tennessee.
Yeah. Hey man, Ran Carthon, he found George Kittle in the 5th round. The 49ers did. So, hey man.
He was so Ran Carthon with the 49ers was responsible for some of the later picks that they've had of the recent draft. So I believe Kittle was like a 5th round pick.
And he was,
so
man. That's why I was excited about getting him,
Yeah. He's been very good at some of those late rounds. So now him getting to do a full draft is he's finally getting that opportunity. And for the most part, I did like the Titans draft. I think Will Levis is always going to be the main talking point with this draft class.
What's your thoughts on Will Levis, man?
I I was skeptical with him. I knew that they liked him.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm glad that they took him in the second round and not at 11th overall.
Right. Same here. Yeah.
They did try to trade back into the first round with the Bills to take him. But the Bills were their main target was the tight end that they ended up taking.
Kincaid, yeah.
And they didn't think he was going to be on the board. So they kind of worked out a deal that if he wasn't there, they were going to trade with the Titans, and the Titans would have been back in the first round and would have took Will Levis then. So that didn't happen because the guy was on the board. They took him, and then the Titans end up on day 2 trading with the Cardinals up to take Levis 33rd overall. And, the thing about Levis is I don't think he's as talented as coming out of college, at least, as C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the advantage he has, he did run a pro system at Kentucky.
Yes.
The thing with he was, his junior year 2 seasons ago, he was lighting up. Everybody thought he was going to be one of the top guys in the draft. They changed coordinators, had a lot of talent leave Kentucky, and last year was, not to make excuses for him, but having a new offense and not a lot of talent on your team, and him still put up some decent numbers was, kind of as expected. It just, hurt his draft stock a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe this will make him work harder. Some comparisons said he's like a Jay Cutler. Well, Jay Cutler won playoff games, folks. It's not like
if he's anything like Jay Cutler, I'll take it because that's probably who the Titans should have drafted in the 2006 draft instead of Vince Young. Which that's an interesting story when you have an owner wanting one person and the head coach wanting another and the OC wanting a different one. Yeah. And you end up with Vince Young because the owner said, I want my guy from Houston. So, you could always look back at that draft to not only say, hey, they could have took Jay Cutler, but I think in the second round, they were going to take Devin Hester, but Lindell White was on the board. So they could have had the same combo that Chicago ended up with of having Devin Hester and Jay Cutler, but ultimately ended up, or did Jay Cutler start with the Broncos?
Yeah, Denver. And then
they wouldn't have been on the same team. But eventually you get to the Bears, yeah. And so that's interesting that, that could have been the combo versus the Vince Young and Lindell White. But yeah, that was a long time ago now.
Yeah. I was watching this thing on Aaron Rodgers the other day when Rodgers got traded. I don't know if I told you this or not, but when Rodgers got traded to the Jets, the NFL Network, they put out a documentary on his draft. Remember how he fell in 2005 and Tennessee selected Adam Jones, Pac-Man. They selected Pac-Man, but here's the thing. The very next year, they end up taking Vince Young. They could have had Aaron bleeping Rodgers.
A lot of people passed on Aaron Rodgers, so a lot of teams could be saying the same thing. And
Tennessee,
I would definitely, if we had a do-over, if there was a do-over, I would definitely take Aaron Rodgers back over Pac-Man Jones. So, you can say what you want about Pac-Man, but he did end up having a decent career.
Yes. Once he grew up, I
think he ended up even having like a 12 or 13 year career and just recently retired. So, he ended up in Cincy and I think found a home there and played there for 6 or 7 seasons. So, probably not worth the 6th overall pick in the draft that year, but ended up being a pretty decent pro.
Yeah, it was I can't remember the guy's name now. The defensive coordinator, he looked at him, Pac-Man did, of that Cincinnati team like a father figure. That guy later became the coach of the Minnesota Vikings. Pickles will probably know what I'm talking about.
Mike Zimmer, yeah.
Yeah, Zimmer.
It was a coach that I was hoping that when the Titans were looking for a head coach, it would have been him over Ken Wisenhunt at the time.
Yeah.
That ended up being a disaster.
Total disaster. I love Vrabel. I think Titans can win with Vrabel. Pickle says Levis isn't as talented as he thinks. I think he had that ego burst, Pickles, and maybe that, a lot of people say, hey, that's the best thing that ever happened to the guy.
I think the best thing that's happened to him, if there is any, truth to him having a huge ego, playing for Mike Vrabel that's not going to work. So Mike Vrabel is the ultimate alpha type coach that what he says goes, and if you're not falling in line, then you're not going to play. So I think honestly for him, it's probably good that he came to the Titans because of that reason. And I think the good situation is you have Tannehill here for it looks like this season potentially. So you have a year to kind of get under your belt and then maybe take over the reins next year.
Right. And this is what I'm saying. Tennessee, man, they can still be competitive this year.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's the Jaguars' division to lose.
Yes.
But I think they're going into this season with a little bit added pressure that it is their title to lose.
Yeah.
And you can't count the Titans out. I mean, they were just injured so bad last year that they were 7-3 before they went on that long. They were 3 games ahead of the Jaguars until all those injuries caught up to them and lost 7 straight. So, not to say that this team is going to be anywhere close to the team last season, but I think they could still potentially win the division.
Yeah, I don't think it's too far. I want to say this is FanDuel. I probably should have screenshot it. I want to say they're over and under 7.5. I think they could win.
That's a fair kind of middle of the road.
Yeah.
I think if they are at around that, I could see Will Levis starting the last few games of the season.
That's what Colin Coward said, that he thinks he'll start by Thanksgiving. I'm thinking if Tannehill stays healthy, man.
Tannehill's a good quarterback. The Tannehill slander is the Tannehill slander. I mean, he's a good quarterback. Like a lot, I know. That Cincinnati Bengals playoff game is going to haunt him for the rest of his career, but he's a good quarterback. And if he's not playing this full season, then they probably have a terrible record.
Yeah. Like you said, look at all the injuries they had, man. I mean,
and the worst offensive line in the league, and they did a lot to try to fix that this offseason. So that not to mention that Tim Kelly's taken over as offensive coordinator. The offensive coordinator.
What do you think about him?
Well, I mean, what you can look at is he was great in Houston. He was the offensive coordinator during Deshaun Watson's Pro Bowl years.
Okay.
He came here after they, shook up their coaching tree after I forgot his name, left, and now he's went to Alabama. Now he's with the Patriots. Bill O'Brien.
Oh, Bill O'Brien, yeah.
Yeah. And so the media, we got to catch up with some of the veterans this past week, and they were talking about the offense and how it's going to be a lot more up-tempo. There's a lot of new concepts. It's basically going to be a whole new offense under him. And if I remember correctly from Houston, there was a lot more, big passing play concepts. They liked using a, running back in the passing game, which also is a good, fit for Tajay Spears, who they selected in the third round.
What do you think about? I like him, man.
I like him a lot, and I knew that they liked him. I was surprised that they took him in the third round. And
do you think they should have took him later?
Maybe. I mean, there's some questions about his knee and all that,
but
he played a full season. Yeah, and neither did Frank Gore. Like a lot of people don't know that, but Frank Gore didn't have one either, and he ended up playing a long career and the third leading rusher of all time. So
14, 12. He's crazy, man. That Frank Gore,
he should be in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion.
He's an Energizer Bunny. I rode him off 7 years before he retired,
But yeah, he had the same situation with his knee, and ultimately, Tajay Spears played the entire season last year with no problems, and had a very good season. Really lit up USC in the Sugar Bowl.
200 yards against USC.
Yeah, he's a complete back. He's a really good receiver. So on that note, going back to Tim Kelly, is a very good fit for that offense. And especially with Derrick Henry in the last year of his deal, if he leaves, then you have a guy right there behind him, just like you have Will Levis right behind Tannehill.
So that sounds like a fantasy alert, man. So Titans are going to be.
I don't know about that yet. I mean, I would still take Derrick Henry in the first or second round. I mean, he's still going to get a lot of the offense. But
you think they're going to throw the ball to Henry? They did at the end of the year last year.
I think Henry has really worked on his receiving. And, I think if he gets the ball and he has some space, he's going to get some yards. I mean, that screenplay that they ran all the time with Todd Downing, God bless him, but he probably ran it a little too much, but it did work.
He had some big plays out of that screen, though.
Yeah. So he's, he's the type of guy, if he gets the ball. Yeah. I think he's took it to the house a couple times.
Back or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he's a little bit better receiver than he gets credit for, but I do think this is probably his last season here now that they have Tajay Spears behind him.
Yeah, they were saying maybe he don't get a second contract. I'm not a big second contract or running back guys anyways. Hassan Haskins is a little slow for my liking, Yeah,
this game is more power. So, I think he's a decent running back, but he's definitely more of a backup than I mean, unless the Titans decide to kind of do a lot similar to the 49ers with the very heavy rotation of guys at the running back position. But I don't think you do that with King Henry on your team. You give that man the ball.
Man, I think he can still run. And with this upgraded, I'm excited about this, offensive line, be honest with you, man. You mentioned Brunskill, Dillard, Sonorski. I mean, pending injury, I think Sonorski's going to be immediate impact for the Titans, man. And he's good in the run game, too.
Yeah, he's good in the run game, really good pass blocker.
Yeah.
And that's something they need with this offense being every time that they were mentioning about the new offense, there was mention about being up tempo and stretching the field. So there's going to be some big passing play concepts. And if you kind of look back at last season, even though he wasn't the OC, he was scripting plays a lot of the times for the first drive of the game on offense as well as after halftime. And they had a lot of success on those drives that he scripted. So I think the offense is going to be much better, but I don't know if they have enough talent to be as competitive as they were last year in the AFC.
Oh, wow. So have you heard anything about Trayvon Burks in his offseason?
Traylon Burks, the wide receiver. Yeah. Not a whole lot. They'll start their OTAs and whatnot here in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Their rookie mini camp is this weekend, so the rookies are reporting and going to have their first few days with the Titans, and then the following weekend they'll start doing their OTAs with the entire team. So I haven't heard a whole lot about Burks. I think he's due a big year because he's going to be the guy, because evidently they did not address the wide receiver position until the 7th round in the draft.
Are you worried about that? Do you think they're too skinny?
Oh, yeah. I think you look at if Traylon Burks is hurt, I mean, you don't have a very good receiving core. At least, there may be some guys that step up, and you'd hope so, but there just aren't any, there's not a lot of depth there. And Traylon Burks, I think, is going to be a really good receiver, but he's all you really got as far as like the superstar power.
Yeah.
I jokingly said the other day, Julio Jones is a free agent, and they want to kick the tires on that again. But
man,
I think that should sell for him.
Minimum, maybe. Make him as what about Kyle Phillips, man? He's listed as a number one wide receiver, or as a third wide receiver.
He should be their
first on the depth chart.
He's probably their slot guy. He's
okay.
built he's their slot, so he's going to be probably their starter there as of right now. I think the thing with him is he's very fast. He's very, quick and in and out of breaks and can get separation, but he's just pretty small. And, he got injured a lot last year, ultimately injured his shoulder, I believe, and didn't play very much of the second half of the season. So he put on some pounds. So you would hope that he would, maybe put on some weight will help with that. And maybe you get something out of him, but, there's a lot of, what ifs with him, and there's a lot of, hey, this guy could be really good, but until you can, prove that you can stay on the field and catch the ball and get first downs and touchdowns, then, that's to be determined.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned. I'm not overly – I hear guys like Clay Travis. The Titans have the worst wide receiving core. I'm thinking that is –
I mean, I don't disagree with him. They pretty much do. But,
I don't know. I think Titans do have a good eye for talent, and there's guys like Racy, McMath, and this Colton Dolwell guy. The fact that they even looked at him, I bet he's going to be a diamond in the rough, man. 7th round.
You hope
pick,
so.
Yeah,
and a great story for him. Him growing up in Lebanon, and I think he played at Wilson Central High School. Was playing at UT Martin, and they did a local pro day, and he was there. And just I know all of his athletic scores that the Titans, especially since Brandon Carthon's been here, really look at heavily on the analytics side. And he was off the charts with his athleticism. He's 6'3", over 200 pounds, runs a 4.3 something, I believe, and had a lot of really good athletic scores from the drills that they ran. Had some good production for the level that he was on. So, we'll see. I think it's a great story, though. Him growing up here, growing up a Titans fans, and now he's getting a chance to play pro ball here.
Yeah, I mean, and they can always make a move and pick up a receiver. I just don't think it's.
I think they're desperately hoping that there's a good receiver get cut and that they could jump on.
Yeah, there may be a guy get cut. You never know.
But the thing is, though, it depends on who it is they don't have a whole lot of money. So they'll have to figure that out, which they'll be, like I mentioned, last week or whatever, that, they have enough money to sign this draft class, but they need about $10 million of operating expense for the season that they're going to have to come up with somehow before.
Do you think they're going to cut somebody post June 1st? There's always, that June
possibly
1st thing. Yeah.
It really, I mean, there's really 3 guys that automatically come to mind, and it's the 3 guys that's been talked about for the last few months. It's Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and Kevin Byard. And so, there was a lot of worry, I guess, as a Titans fans that one of them would have been traded during the draft. That didn't happen, but you're still looking at the cap situation, as in, what are you going to do? You have to, something has to give here because you're out of money.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on Houston's draft, man? My thing about that quarterback there,
CJ Stroud,
I don't know if he's going to fit that system. Him running a lot of spread up there in Ohio State, the defensive-minded head coach, it seems like they've reached a little bit. They gave up a lot to trade back up for Will Anderson. What's your thoughts on Houston, man?
Well, I think they got 2 of the 3 best players in the draft. And they had a lot of picks. I think they ended up with close to 10 picks in this
I'll have
draft.
to go back and check.
So they, they're definitely in a rebuild mode, and I think they now think that they have their franchise quarterback. They have a really good defensive player in Will Anderson, and they loaded up on many different positions throughout the draft. So I think the thing is, D'Amico Ryan seems like he's going to be a really good head coach. And so it's going to be interesting to see their entire year. I don't think that they're a threat to win the AFC South just yet, but I mean, it's all going to depend on CJ Stroud and his development.
Yeah. I wish he would have fell to more of an offensive-minded head coach. Like you said, Tennessee, defensive-minded head coach. They got a pro-style quarterback. He can learn under. I know Tannehill's not going to teach him. He don't want to. Tannehill's favorite quote was, I heard him say the other day, he's like, "This is deja vu all over again."
Yeah.
Right?
With the Malik Willis. Yeah.
For Malik Willis last year.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on the Colts? Richardson, I like the pick, but I don't think the Colts are going to be that competitive this year. What do you think about the Colts draft?
I think the Colts, they had a lot of picks as well. I want to say they had around
like 12 or 13.
Yeah. And so they took a lot. I did like their draft, though, as much as I dislike that organization with my Titans tinted glasses on.
Yeah.
But and I just think their owner's a idiot, and he can't be quiet on Twitter. But
no,
I think their draft, though, they had some guys that I really liked. They took
Josh Downs, 3rd round.
I'm not super high on Josh Downs.
He's a good route runner, a little bitty guy though.
And I think that was the thing with this draft. There's a lot of little bitty wide receivers in this
like
draft.
Trey Flowers, huh?
But I think Josh Downs was a good product of a really good college quarterback that I don't think gets enough pub yet. Drake May at North Carolina is probably going to be the second best quarterback coming out of coming into
Maybe
the league
the
next
first,
year.
Richard. Yeah,
possibly. He's right there with Caleb Williams. But I'm not super high on Josh Downs. I watched a lot of wide receiver tape leading up to the draft, and it just seemed like he was a good product of having a really good quarterback.
Really good, really talented guy.
He caught a lot of
the people gave him an A+, you know?
Yeah, he caught a lot of underneath passes and was a very short yardage guy. He didn't, to me, have a very great nose for the end zone. But the Blake Freeland pick, I like the tackle from either UCLA or BYU. I did like that pick.
Got him in a 4th round. Yeah, I'm looking at this now. Yeah,
he's going to be probably their right tackle. And they had that, like I said, they had 12 picks or so they loaded up on some talent. They got a good cornerback in the 2nd round that I liked. That I think will be really good. Was it Josh Brents? I think from
Kansas State.
Mm-hmm. So I think they had a pretty good draft.
Usually, he's done a good job over the past. That general manager. Yeah. It's all about Irsay. When they screw up, it's blame Irsay, man. Which is good if you're in Tennesseeville, right?
He's been a train wreck because he's not winning the AFC South anymore, and so he's just been a train wreck over the last few years. He don't have luck and Peyton
Manning to lean back on. That's why.
Well, speaking of luck, I'm sure you've seen some of the headlines of him, accusing the Washington Commanders of tampering with reaching out to him, which I just don't see Andrew Luck ever coming back and playing football. I think the last time anybody's ever seen him, he definitely did not look like he wanted to play football. Lost a lot of weight. Was just kind of prepared.
He went back to school at Stanford. He wants to get into coaching. That's what I heard last thing I read.
I mean, he might be a good coach. I know he's incredibly smart. He's a real well-liked guy. He's a very competitive guy. So he probably would be a good coach. And of course, I think his dad ended up being in coaching too.
I thought he was like a AD or something. Then he worked with the XFL for a little while.
Yeah, he was I want to say their president or CEO or something, or commissioner or something like that.
Yeah, he was doing that, and Luck, man. Irsay, this is what blows my mind about that whole situation for the audience. Him being Andrew Luck's contract was air quote up in last year. That's my understanding. Now the Commanders were desperate for a quarterback. They supposedly reached out to him, tried to get him to come back. I guess in that story came back, Irsay got ticked off and said Sunday on Twitter. He said Sunday that it's still against NFL. So I don't understand that. I'm thinking, well, his contract was already up, but I don't understand.
Yeah, if that's the case, I don't know how they're tampering then if he's not under contract. So maybe Irsay, had a little bit too much.
Up, you never know.
Yeah, and thought it was 2 years ago. I guess I don't know. That guy is he's a mess.
But he's good if you're competing against him. You want a late Al Davis, not early Al Davis who's winning Super Bowls. You want Al Davis in 2000. It's always getting guys with good 40 times, but not very good football players. I'm like you, man. Jacksonville's the team to beat. Their draft was just okay. I actually read they had like a C type of draft. Their general manager, he's big on picking guys that are fast, but not really great actual tape guys. For example, Trayvon Walker, I'm already seeing Hutchinson's a better player. Walker's a great athlete. Hutchinson's got the number 2 pick to Detroit, for example, 9.5 sacks. Walker had 3? Now, he made the key play that beat Tennessee last year, and that was because Tennessee's line was terrible, like you said.
Well, that was with Josh Dobbs at quarterback, too, and very bad offensive line that had hardly any of their starters remaining at the end of the year, and receivers as well. But, I think the Jaguars, they had a draft that was like, all right, there's just, a lot of depth there. They have a really talented young team and have a lot of their starters in place. So seemed like a lot of their draft. I did like the tight end that they took in the second round. I think he'll actually get some playing time. Yeah. I think he'll get some playing time. They'll obviously need their first round pick because their tackle is suspended, I believe.
Oh, is it Cam Robertson?
I think it's either him or the other tackle.
Okay.
The starter is suspended, I think, for PEDs or something.
And they lost Taylor to Kansas City, right? Their other tackle.
Mm-hmm. So
their
offensive line is going to be, there's going to be some issues there. So that's why they took the Anton
Harrison from Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma. Yeah. So, but the rest of the draft,
be a good player,
Yeah, I think so. I think this draft was loaded with good offensive linemen,
good tight ends, good offensive linemen, everything. Good corners.
Yeah, good corners, and I think there was, I think some of the linebackers were better than people are rating. I don't think there's really too many people talking about some of the linebackers and the edge guys they have, except for all the ones that the Philadelphia Eagles selected, which were pretty much Georgia. All the Georgia
Who's
guys.
Your favorite? Was that your favorite draft? I had
It's one of them. I think they did it just seems like, hey, we're going to take, you can criticize them, I guess, for taking Georgia guys, but hey, they had the best defense in college the last few years. You can't blame them. Yeah, and national champions. So, like, I can't blame them. Like, that's an easy script to write there. Like, take those guys because they're awesome, and you had a lot of holes on your defense. So, why not load up on, guys that were the best defense, a part of the best defense in college? So, and then trading to get another Georgia guy with the running back trade that they had from
DeAndre
Detroit.
Swift.
Yeah. So I want to say they have about 8 Georgia guys on their team now.
Yeah, N'Kobe Dean, DeAndre Swift, Nolan Smith.
They traded back in to get Nolan Smith, and I thought that was a really good pick.
Man, he's quick, ain't he?
Yeah, when I heard that the Titans were looking to get back in the first round, that was honestly my first thought was, are they trying to get Nolan Smith? Because
that's a John Robertson move right there.
Oh, I think he would be a perfect Vrabel guy, Nolan Smith.
Yeah, he would. Yeah.
So that's what I initially thought, and then I was like, oh, well, maybe they are still interested in Levis because he keeps, he kept falling. So yeah, I was hoping that they would have going after Nolan Smith because I would have loved that pick at 28.
Pickle says Nolan Smith will be a star.
Totally agree.
Ringo in the 4th round, man.
Yeah, I think the thing with Keely Ringo is that he was a stiff kind of guy. He's a little bit linky. He's kind of stiff in the hips. Probably end up being a nickel or safety kind of guy.
He got torched in that Ohio State game. That's why I think his stock went down.
Well, he was facing the best receiver that's probably been in college in a long time until he got hurt. But
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah. And so I think Ringo's a really good, talented defensive back.
He's a good tackler.
I think he's going to end up being a really good either nickel corner or a free safety.
I'm glad Tennessee don't play them. I told Jamie, I'm glad Tennessee don't play them next year. They're going to probably win 12-something games this year again. You know what?
Yeah. Very good. Well, good.
Well, I will say this. Houston did get a good line. How do you say his name? Totolo?
Henry To'oTo'o that used to be with Tennessee.
And he played with Alabama.
Yeah.
Very good nose for the football. Yeah.
Transferred to Alabama and at the end of the Pruitt year, I think. And
played great. I mean, he's all over the place.
He was I don't know if I would put him.
Man.
I think that's a good spot for him to be picked. I would say that. And I think he's a solid linebacker, a guy you can put in the middle. And
he must have not been that fast, man. I thought he was better. Every game I seen him play was good. But, I didn't watch him looking for linebackers every play. But
yeah, like I said, I think the linebackers there were some good linebackers in this draft that didn't get a lot of credit or get a lot of pub about.
Yeah.
But I think you'll see in a few years that there's going to be some good ones that were taken in this draft.
Some LBs, man. You got anything else to plug? You got a show come on Thursday. What's the name of your show again?
Yeah, I got a show with a couple of my friends, Big Ten Rich. We record every Thursday night. Usually get out on all the podcast platforms around 9 o'clock. So me and 2 of my lifelong friends that we just talk about a little bit of everything. So pop culture,
it's a variety show,
sports, yeah, very, very variety. I mean, last week we talked about everything from like food and stuff that we made when we were kids, and like all the way to one of the people that are part of this podcast had a wedding a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
Talked about a little bit about that and just all kinds of different things.
That
Talked about
Kenny
the draft.
Delahousse, he needs to do a cooking podcast. That dude loves food, don't he?
He loves food more than anybody I know on this planet.
He's not even a big guy. He just loves food, though.
Yeah.
He definitely I follow you on Spotify. You had a great show out the other day, man. Good stuff there, brother. Good stuff. But yeah, man, appreciate you coming on. We got 35 minutes just like that.
Yeah.
Definitely welcome back anytime, especially if something big breaks,
Yeah, I'll be more than happy to jump on, talk, Titans, NFL, anything.
Yeah. I was just telling everybody on the I'm going to try to get media tickets to the SEC Media Days coming up.
Yep.
This is a company I got here, Going to try. That's going to be here in Nashville, if I don't recall.
It'll be at the Grand Hyatt, one of the brand new hotels downtown.
You gonna be there?
June? Yeah, I'm
July.
Yeah. It's always in like the late July. Kind of looking forward to that. I'm interested to see how if they do anything like on Broadway or have like a fan area, because typically the SEC Media Days, it is like more of a Radio Row style setup. So I hope that they have something for the fans, because most of the Radio Row stuff, like people just can't have access to that or to all the, coaches and whatnot. So I hope that they have like some fan areas where people can go and have fun and enjoy Nashville.
Yeah. I'm considering taking off a couple of days for the day job and maybe interviewing some folks, but I got to get something better than a phone. I don't know how I'll do that. I'm still brainstorming. It's just May, brother.
Well, I can help you out there offline and let you know what you may need, and we can kind of talk shop then.
Shoot you out, brother. Yeah, Rich Ferris, excellent guest. Bravo. Yeah, man, when I listen to the playback,
Thanks,
when
man.
You come on, man, it is money. I'm like, this dude's full of information, man. You like Mel Kiper in Nashville, brother.
Oh, man. Mel Kiper. I don't know if how I want to take that one. I'm a big Mel Kiper fan.
Mel Kiper, when he's talking about Josh Allen, not Mike Williams from USC.
I'll say this: Mel Kiper is really good at analyzing the player. He's really bad at picking the player to go to the team.
Yeah,
I don't think he understands the fits that a certain player needs for that team and why that team would take him. But he gets the player analyzing the player really great. Now, all the talk about him being in the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a contributor, I mean, maybe.
He has had some misses too. You're right, and you're right. You got to find the right scheme and stuff like that.
Because I was keeping up with his best available.
Yeah.
And there was guys that were sitting there for like 3 rounds, just like your best available has been on the board as your best available for the last 3 rounds, man. So
that is true. Remember Mike Mayock? I thought he knew a lot when he went to the Raiders.
Mike Mayock, I thought was excellent at. He was really good at now analyzing the player and getting the fit. Ultimately, he ended up wanting to be a GM, went to the Raiders, and that just recently ended.
Failure.
And so I don't know what he's doing now. I would hope that he would get back in the media, because I thought he was really great on the NFL Network.
He's working down at Starbucks. No, I'm kidding. Mel Kiper gets paid a lot to mess every year. Yeah,
he does.
That is true. But he was the only one that was really high on that. Josh Allen, he was, but also he kept doubling down on Carson Wentz when he was falling off of a cliff.
I think if you want to find somebody that does it now, I think Daniel Jeremiah does an excellent job of the draft coverage.
I read his stuff.
He nailed a lot of picks this year, and I think he should get a lot of credit.
Sites, Daniel Jeremiah, Athletic. Some of the what's that other guy's ESPN? Todd
McShay.
Yeah,
I like Todd McShay too.
Yeah, Bucky Brooks, smart guy. Bucky Brooks.
He has his own. I forget what his thing is.
It's either NFL or Fox. I see him everywhere.
I think he has like a side thing where he does a lot of stuff around the draft. I think he has his own not book, but not a lot of people do the draft books anymore. But he had something like that. Maybe it was his own website, I believe.
Yeah.
That he does a pretty good job. I don't necessarily agree with what his mocks, but
well, yeah. Well, I just try to. That's how I come. I've nailed some picks too. I said Anthony Richardson would go to the Colts, and I just put through a combination of guys and average them all together and say, okay, from what I see, I watch Red Zone every freaking Sunday, man.
How do you feel about them moving to YouTube?
I don't know how to feel about that. Now, it's still going to be on cable, though, right?
I don't think so. I think it's strictly on YouTube.
Well, if it does, I've got smart TV. I'll take care of it. That's something else I can write off on my.
If you can write that off, because I was looking at the prices and I was like, eeh.
It's expensive. I don't like to pay that in this inflation era, but yeah, I'm not in love with that. To be honest with you, it's a little expensive. It's a little.
The only thing that bothers me, yeah, I think it's like $70 a month.
Yeah,
that's what it ends up being.
It's steep.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about streaming is me being such wanting to know info immediately. Yeah. Is that a lot of streaming stuff is delayed, a few minutes, and so sometimes that bothers me a little bit, especially being in media to not know like in the moment.
It was a Sunday Ticket though. Are you sure it's Red Zone?
I think Sunday Ticket and Red Zone I think are on YouTube.
So you can't get it through Xfinity no more.
I don't think so. I think it's all YouTube.
Boy, Pickle's gonna be ticked about that.
Don't quote me on it because now I'm kind of wondering.
Man, you done run my whole night, dude.
I did get a newsletter. I'll have to look it up, but I did get a newsletter that was saying, "Hey, YouTube is now the home of either Red Zone or
Sunday." But you know something? If I was working security again, Richard, that would be that would be manna from heaven, brother.
Yeah,
because I got sitting at a guard shack, man, for 8 hours.
Yeah,
I would, especially I'm in the fantasy. I play the games. Plus, hey, it's part of my gig now. So,
yeah, it's definitely Red Zone is definitely YouTube now.
Okay. Luckily, it's May. I still have time to figure it out.
Yeah, I think they just kind of put everything together for that. Like I said, there's a bunch of I think they have 3 or 4 different packages. Yeah. It also includes the ticket. I know the ticket's on there too. I don't know if the ticket's exclusive to YouTube, but I do believe Red Zone's exclusive to YouTube.
Yeah. Pickle says no Red Zone. I'll be out to lunch. I will bring you back because the schedule comes out tomorrow. So maybe next week or maybe, within the next few weeks, we'll talk about.
I'll give you a little nugget. I do believe, tomorrow they're announcing all their international games. The Titans are playing in London.
Thursday, yeah.
No, tomorrow's the international game. Thursday's a full schedule.
That's what I meant, the full schedule, yeah.
Yeah, but tomorrow they're going to release the international schedule, which the Titans are playing in London.
Wow.
I believe it's going to be the Seahawks in mid-October.
So they're going to be playing at 8:30 in the morning our time.
I'm trying to go. I haven't been to London.
Money,
I would love to go.
You and Kenny, y'all got money. You guys went to Hawaii one time, so all right. Keep me updated, man. That'd be great. That'll be a great story to tell. Bring that back to the program, brother.
Yeah, if I end up going, I definitely won't mind sharing that trip.
Yeah. Dun 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 dun. They're playing that royal music. So
yeah, I think they're playing at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So it's one of their newer stadiums that they're playing in London. They're not at Wembley like they were in 2018, I believe, when they went. The Titans last went.
Oh, that's right. They almost beat the Chargers.
It was Mike Vrabel's first year, and he went for 2 instead of going to overtime. Went for 2 and didn't get it. Yeah. The story of the Titans.
Yeah.
Historically, just a yard short.
Oh, don't remind me. Hey, buddy, thank you. And thank you, everybody. We're over. I'm going to get back to basketball, man.
All right, man. Thanks for having me.
Have a good one, brother. Thanks again. See you, buddy.
See you.